Hello, everyone. This is the TAPED podcast, best music podcast in the world. My name is Miho, and I'm here with my co-hosts. Introduce yourselves.
Michael.
Louis.
I'm David.
And today we're going to be talking about Radiohead albums, and in particular, ranking them from best to worst, or vice versa, from worst to best. Is there anything else to add?
Nothing else really.
We talk about the best and worst songs of each album and their significance to the band, in our opinions, as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's about it. I think we'll start
We'll
with
just start
number
by
9.
Yeah, we'll give
The
all of our number
worst.
and we'll talk about it.
The worst
And then move on
Radiohead
to
album, in everyone's opinions. Let's start with Michael.
Okay, number 9. I got Pablo Honey.
Sound like you rehearsed that.
Shit.
Wow, it's almost like it's happened before.
Yeah.
Anyways.
All right, Louis.
Pablo Honey.
David.
David.
Also Pablo Honey.
And for me, it's the King of Limbs.
Oh, wow. I'm so shocked and surprised.
Wow,
It's almost
what?
like I knew this already. It's almost like we recorded something beforehand, but it went wrong. Okay.
Stop
I
making it obvious.
suppose let's explain why we picked such albums.
Start with you boys, Pablo Honey boys.
Okay, I guess I'll begin. Well, I picked Pablo Honey because it is, come on, it's their first album, it's their debut. They haven't got their own sound, they're trying to mimic everything they're playing at the time. Tom's vocals are appalling for the most part, apart from maybe on Creep, where they sound a bit more refined, but they're still squeaky, teenage-like. There's not really any notable tracks bar Creep. I mean, you could say anyone could play guitar just because it's so funny, and for the Live at the Beach House version, which will forever be tarnished in my memory with some sort of PTSD. Apart from that, I mean, it doesn't sound like Radiohead. As I would put it, it's like an On a Friday album masked as a Radiohead album. It's not real.
It's not real. It's an illusion.
It's illusion. It's in my. It didn't happen.
This does not
I'm not here.
exist.
I'm not here. This isn't happening. Okay, so Michael, how about you?
Yeah, I put Pablo Honey at the bottom for more or less the same reasons. Like, they didn't have their own sound, and plus, for the most part, this album's production just sounded horrendous. Like, it was just, I don't know, it just didn't really sound pleasant to the ear for the most part. And there's barely any notable songs on here that are really significant to Radiohead, except for Creep. And essentially, they all had to start somewhere, so I'll give it credit where it's due. Some points.
Okay, how about you, David?
Yeah, it's like a prepubescent album, kind of. Like, I kind of see Ben's as their first real album. But just Tom's vocals didn't really feel fully developed here, as well as instrumentation on a lot of the tracks. Like, how do you? I don't know what he's going for. He kind of sounds like it's a really punky vibe. It just doesn't really sound right at all. But yeah, no, definitely the worst album for me.
All right, Michal, why'd you pick King of Limbs?
I think the King of Limbs is the worst Radiohead album because, given the time period they released it, it was a few years after In Rainbows, and at that time they already had their own sound. Everything was clicking for them, and in that era of great Radiohead, the King of Limbs just seems like a bit of a disjointed mess. It just falls flat. It doesn't really accomplish what I think it wants to accomplish. Its concept, it's a bit all over the place, disorganized, very unmemorable. Bar one track. There's a lot of the rhythm section of the album is just completely bland and lifeless, and there's just not really anything significant. And the reason I put it below Pablo Honey is I think that Pablo Honey is at least a more significant time in Radiohead's career. It's how they started, and I feel like it's still an important listen to look back and see where the band came from, whereas the King of the Limbs is just feels a bit lifeless to me, and I'll talk about it in when we're talking about the worst songs. But my least favorite Radiohead song is on here. So
Bing bong, bad take. Anyways, your opinion isn't mine. So
All
it's
right.
wrong.
and we're supposed to agree
All
on
right.
everything here.
I suppose we should
All
say best song and worst song then, off of each of our
All right,
choices.
moving on to best of worst songs. Like I've only picked 2 songs that I felt were notable from Pablo Honey, like "Creep" and "You," and from my opinion, the worst song on the album is "Vegetable."
It's an awful song. For me, best song Creep. I don't even think any of the other ones are good enough to be called best. There's not really anything else. Worst anyone could play guitar. It's appalling. Is the worst pop ballad I've ever heard in my life. I'd rather listen to Nickelback on repeat.
David?
Yeah, Creep and You are probably the only decent songs, and then How Do You is probably the worst one as well. But like, you could take your pick out of them. None of them are great.
And Nihal, what about you?
My favorite is easily Lotus Flower. Separator is the only other I think decent track on there, and my least favorite song is Feral by far.
Yeah, fair
Don't
enough.
like that at all.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
Is it time for numero? What's 8 in Spanish?
I don't know.
Number 8.
It's French, to be honest.
Acht.
That's Irish. You're actually retarded.
That's fucking
does-
German.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, right?
Anyways,
Going around number 8.
Yeah.
My number 8 pick is The King of Limbs.
My number 8 pick is The Bends.
Ooh.
Whoa.
By a thin margin, I must say.
David
Okay.
Yeah, King of Limbs as well.
and Pablo Honey for me.
Okay, Michael, I guess you
You
should
same
start.
order for everything.
Okay, so first of all, I actually kind of like King of Limbs to some degree. Like I kind of like how it's different than like most of what Radiohead has done. Although it can be a bit boring at times. But yeah, it's too short of an album as well. Like at only like 30 minutes, which is kind of disappointing.
I think it is 42 minutes or something along those lines.
I thought it was
It's
like
much shorter than the other ones. Yeah, I'll look it up. It's
And-
37 minutes.
and yeah. And honestly, it doesn't live up to the caliber of what Radiohead albums are supposed to be.
Yeah.
Like when you're comparing those albums, like when are you ever going to compare like The King of Limbs to fucking Kid A or OK Computer?
It's experimental.
Yeah. So yeah, King of Limbs at number 8.
Louis?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's the one I'm most interested
me.
in, to be honest.
okay. The Bends. I don't know. Like, it is a good second album. They really they refined their sound a lot. It's an easy listen. It's not Pablo Honey. I'd rather scratch my ears off than listen to it kind of thing. It's good. It's got really good tracks on it. Street Spirit. It's really emotional. It's really good. And other tracks like My Iron Lung stand out, and Just. They stand out as fairly strong tracks. A bit more alt rocky than their other stuff, but it's definitely in its own kind of place. But it doesn't exactly sound like how Radiohead would become later on in the discographies. I do think it's not as good as you say, Amnesiac. It doesn't. I don't know. It's just a lot about it that I don't really like. There's a lot of filler tracks. I don't like high. A Nice Dream is literally a track. Remember how it goes. It's unmemorable. It's kind of why I picked it. It's a good second album, but it's not a good Radiohead album, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, David.
Yeah, I had King of Limbs as well. It's well, not as well, but as well as the two previous. It just feels like a kind of a regression from Kid A in Rainbows and stuff, with some of the electronic elements of it. The percussion of it kind of just started to annoy me after a while. With a lot of different tracks, and I don't know, it just feels like a lot of filler, kind of, and shit. I don't know. I just don't like
Yeah,
it.
it feels like a filler album, in my opinion.
All right, Michal, Pablo Honey.
Pablo Honey. I want to start off by saying I don't think it's a very good album by any means. Before someone comes and tries to kill me, I don't think it's a good album. And
don't
by
think anyone
Radiohead standards, I
that.
think it's even worse. But in the grand scheme of, I think, 90s alt rock, which is what I think is more fair to compare it to its contemporaries in the alt rock genre rather than the albums that Radiohead would go on to create. Because comparing Pablo Honey to the likes of OK Computer, I just see it's ridiculous. But when it comes to 90s alt rock, I think it's a serviceable album. I don't think it's a crime against humanity. I think it has some decent tracks on it, and I think it's their first album. It's how they blew up with Creep. It's where everything started for them. So I think it's worth a listen if you're a Radiohead fan at least, or if you for some reason love mediocre 90s alt rock.
How about
You
it's
have
how about it's
self-hatred.
we'll just say it's entry level Radiohead.
No, I wouldn't
No,
even say
it's
that.
not.
The Benz,
The Benz
the
is
Benz is entry, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Creep is entry level song.
Pablo Honey was the first Radiohead album I listened to.
No, it's an On a Friday album.
So
Shush.
should we go through our favorites and least favorites now?
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
My favorite songs from The King of Limbs were Bloom,
Start with Mike
Little by
Bloom.
Little, and Lotus Flower. And my least favorite was Feral.
No blame there. That's awful. My picks gotta be Best Street Spirit, Planet Telex, and Fake Plastic Trees. They're incredibly good. Worst, it'd be a difficult choice between Sulk and Bones. Both the tracks are just boring. Just feel like filler. And you, David?
Yeah, Lotus Flower and Separator, definitely my favorite songs after that.
Worst track?
And it's kind of a tie between Bloom and Feral for me for the worst songs.
Okay.
I don't like either of them. But
Michal?
Finally, Mahal.
Cool. My favorite tracks on Pablo Honey, obviously Creep. I like Blowout, the closing track. I like I Can't as well. Worst tracks. Probably the worst, easily worst track is How Do You. Also don't care much for Stop Whispering, and I think You is my second least favorite track. Anyone can play guitar is a bit crappy.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
If mostly How Do You. That track is a crime against humanity.
Fair.
I love
Alright,
the
moving
track
on.
with Creep. Or sorry, Pablo Honey, because fucking Prove Yourself, I Can't. It's just the best statement for that album, honestly.
Okay. Moving on to our number 7 pick. I suppose I'll go first. I picked
same order.
Amnesiac.
Okay. I picked The King of Limbs.
David?
oh, sorry, cut it. Yeah, Hail to the Thief was mine.
Mine's also
Ooh!
You!
Hail to the Thief. Is also-
Oh, I'm offended.
Oh!
I'm offended. Holy shit.
Factions are forming.
Fuck ye. Anyway,
This is what
okay.
they all came here for.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right, okay,
this
so
is the good shit.
I guess, Michael, take it away, man.
Okay, yeah, I put Amnesiac at number 7, mostly because it's like everyone knows it's B-sides from Kid A. And like some of the songs just don't live up to what was on Kid A. Essentially, a lot of them are just unfinished, and like some of them feel like poorly meshed together. And personally, I still like it. I will definitely listen to it anyway. I still enjoy the Kid A sound, you know. So yeah, Amnesiac.
Okay, well, I picked The King of Limbs as the number 7 spot. It's experimental to the point of almost being art, I think. Like, the mixing is so terrible, I think it's intentional. I genuinely think it's an artistic choice to make it really bit compressed and awful all the time. You know, tracks like Little by Little, right? The mixing on it at the beginning is so piss poor it just feels like it has a purpose, man.
But it doesn't. Like, it's
And then-
not fun
Purpose.
to listen to.
It's little by little, like that. And Bloom is equally like it has terrible mixing, but it sounds intentional. And then you have Lotus Flower, which it sounds fine. It's a normal. It doesn't sound bad. It's really nice, a good electronic tune. Got a nice beat to it, you know. It birthed the Tom York dancing like a prat meme, which is always kind of it's always great. But it
Yeah.
is a bit too experimental, even for them. And I definitely think with the albums they had made before and after that, kind of just doesn't match them. Doesn't match In Rainbows. It does not match a Moonshaped Pool at all. It's a very distinct sound as well. It doesn't sound like In Rainbows or a Moonshaped Pool or anything really before it came out. They tried experimenting with a bit too much, and it just didn't really work out too well, in my opinion. And I'd have to say, like, there's a lot of tracks on here that do sound like they had it on the cutting room floor and then picked it up and put it together with super glue. So songs like Feral, terrible. Codex, okay. Get Up the Ghost, awful. Separator, I just don't even listen to Separator. I just can't be bothered. Anyways, that's
You're
me.
putting it above Ben's.
David, on to you.
Sorry.
Oh, David.
David, are you okay?
He's thinking about what to say.
Davy boy, you there?
I guess we were waiting for him to come back. Mihal, do you want to do your choice?
My choice is also Hail to the Thief.
Okay.
It starts off, I think it might have Bar maybe. OK Computer and Kid A might have the strongest start of any Radiohead album. 2 + 2 = 5 and Sit Down, Stand Up are both some of the best Radiohead songs. But I just feel like the album kind of loses itself as it goes on. There's no real, I don't think there's a real flow through some of the tracks. The drum being acoustic to electronic in some of the tracks. And just I think the quality goes down as the album goes on and it just becomes less memorable. There's like a song like the Gloaming, which just sounds like a weird fucking Bjork song.
Fuck you. Fuck you.
I think it just gets, it's a bit unmemorable in the latter parts of the album. But I still think it's a good album. We're past the trash. I think it's a good album. I think it's a must listen.
Traitor.
But I think there are 6 Radiohead albums that are better.
Okay.
Okay.
David, are you alive?
I am back. Sorry.
All right, good.
Okay. Just
Talk
tell
about
us why you
one-
picked Hail to the Thief.
Yeah. Well, like from this point on, every album I've picked, like I genuinely like. It's just that I think there's other Radiohead albums that are better than it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
same.
I kind of feel bad like talking shit about it because there are a lot of tracks I like on it. But yeah, it's probably just the least standoutish out of all the albums after this point. But
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah,
It doesn't have
Yeah.
that. It doesn't leave an umph like OK
Yeah.
Computer, Kid A.
yeah.
I'll give you that one. I'll give you that one. Okay.
Oh, this is gonna be the next. few
Okay,
picks are gonna be,
moving.
dodgy.
All right,
No.
number 6, boy. Oh no, least favorite.
We have to.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Fav-
Yeah, shit.
All right. On Amnesiac, my favorite songs were Polk Pull, Knives Out, and Pyramid Song. And my least favorite track on the album was Dollars and Cents.
Fair enough. My favorite off of King of Limbs, definitely Little by Little, Lotus Flower and Bloom. Worst song, Feral. Just not up for debate. It sounds like, I don't know, pots and pans being smashed together violently, but like somehow a bit compressed as well and worse.
It's like the drums off of fucking Saint Anger.
It's like listening to Coldplay. Yes. Anyways, and David.
Yeah, favorite tracks probably. I fucking cannot pronounce this for shit. Mixamatosis.
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 Making some toast.
Uh, Quit bullying the poor guy. Let him speak.
And Sail to the Moon probably, and then least favorite We Suck Young Blood, partially because it's a weird title and it makes me feel uncomfortable.
Oh,
Nice, but you're wrong. You're wrong. Anyways,
okay, Michal.
My favorites are 2 + 2 = 5, Sit Down, Stand Up, and They Are There. My least favorite, probably A Punch Up at the Wedding.
Yeah, fair enough.
Fair enough.
I guess we should move on to numero 6 then. Michael, do you want to start?
Yeah, for the number 6 spot, I put the Bends.
Fuck me, that's really high up there. Holy shit. Okay.
You're not gonna like
I like the Bends, dude.
Fair enough. I'd say my number 6 pick, Amnesiac.
Yeah, I had Amnesiac as well.
I had Amnesiac as well.
Wow.
Ooh.
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 Okay.
We'll just go same order every time.
Okay. I chose the Bends for number 6 because, at this point in time, it was definitely where Radiohead actually began to find their own sound, and for the most part, a lot of the tracks were really enjoyable on here. And the production was good, it was catchy, it was memorable, and obviously this album was a big step up from Pablo Honey, and I could appreciate it for that. Although criticism that I do have, there's a bit of filler on the album. Like, some tracks are pretty boring, but ultimately I quite enjoy the Bends.
Now, Amnesiac, okay, it is a B-sides record for Kid A, right? But it's good enough that it doesn't sound like
Yeah.
a Kid B, say. Like, it's good enough to be its own album, but it definitely is the B-sides of Kid A. There's no getting past it. It has a lot of good tracks on it. I Might Be Wrong is fantastic. That funky kind of Western sounding guitar is really good. Pyramid Song stands out as being a companion piece to something like Everything Is Right Place or How to Disappear Completely. It's got a real melodic feel to it. Stuff like Morning Bell and like Spinning Plates, they're good on the album. They're even better live, especially like Spinning Plates. I mean, it's a masterpiece anyways because it is I Will from Hail to the backwards, and different lyrics, of course. It's very, 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 very deep. Piano on it is beautiful. Life in the Glass House is an excellent ending track as well. I think Packed Like Sardines in a Crushed Tin Box is a good starting track as well. Though I will admit, there is some weak ones. I particularly don't enjoy Polka Pull, Revolving Doors. Don't really like Knives Out. I don't like Dollars and Cents and Hunting Bears. Hunting Bears is 2 minutes of AIDS, to be honest. It's the weakest link. Anyways, that's me.
David?
Yeah, it was there were a lot of good standout songs for me listening through it, but I just felt like there was a lot of filler, and every time I listened to it, I kind of just wait for certain songs and zone out for half of it. Like Pyramid Song is probably one of my favorites, as well as Knives Out, but I can't stand Polka Pull at all.
This is killing me inside, honestly.
I'm sorry. I heard you say you liked it. I feel bad now, but
I fucking hate the lyrics on that fucking song.
Well,
I like the way it's it's just shit aliens speaking. Don't care. I don't care for it.
Also Amnesiac. Well, it is obvious that it was recorded around the time of Kid A, at the same sessions, even not around the same time as Kid A. But I don't think I think they're completely separate entities. I don't think it should just be disregarded as Kid A outtakes, because it's a different album. It feels a lot different. Kid A feels a lot more grandiose and just bigger than life, whereas this is a bit more just low key and just creepy even. I think it has a different general aesthetic to Kid A. And I think it is a through and through a pretty quality album. Just doesn't compare to some of the later picks. Should we talk about
Best and
songs?
worst songs? Yeah,
Michael.
Best songs for me on the Bends were Fake Plastic Trees, Nice Dream, and My Iron Lung. And my least favorite track on the album was Bones.
Oh. On Amnesia, I'd say best songs: Pyramid Song, I Might Be Wrong, and Like Spinning Plates were a song. Hunting Bears.
Yeah, Knives Out and Pyramid Song are probably my favorites after that, and then Pull Pull is definitely my least favorite.
My favorites are Life in a Glass House, Pyramid Song, easily, and I Might Be Wrong. It's great too. My least favorite is by far Poke Pull. Also don't care much for Knives Out.
Fair enough. One comment I gotta make on to 5. An interesting thing I did hear about Amnesiac, which is it's a pretty good take. That Kid A first in that sequence of albums, and then it kind of ends on motion picture soundtrack. It's really sad, and it's like I think Tom described it as being like beginning and everything is right place. It's like life, and then goes through the stages of life and death and motion picture soundtrack.
Yeah,
and I've heard people say,
yeah.
I've heard people say that Amnesiac is like kind of like going through that cycle again, but different or something like that. I don't know. I kind of picked up on it and found it kind of interesting as I was listening to it. It's kind of like you wake up again, packed like sardines in a crushed tin box or something like that. Some crap like symbolism.
It's like reincarnation.
Almost, kind
That's
of.
a sardine.
Imagine being
Yeah,
fucking
yes.
sardine.
Wait, maybe there's a thing with the title where you forget about the previous life.
So you're a
Yeah,
sardine,
amnesia.
Yeah.
Amnesiac. We've done it, boys. We've solved.
So
We've solved the riddle.
this is
Tom York, come on our podcast.
I think this is
Please.
the highest IQ music podcast in the world.
Not even
That's
a-
going to be in the title now.
I
Okay.
music take.
We've gone past the symbolism. It's time for number 5. And this is going to be fucking juicy, I can tell you. I'm going to cause some controversy here.
Okay.
Turn it off, baby.
Okay, look, I'll start it first. Okay. Hail to the thief.
Oh, makes me shit myself. Okay, I have to pick. Okay, computer.
Oh, fuck you! No, my whole life just crushed
That's a joke.
before my eyes.
Alright, he'll explain it. He's going to explain it. Let's
No,
move on
let's
to
explain
David.
it,
I cannot forgive this fucking sin.
I'm not going to forgive it, but at least I listen.
All right,
Right.
David, go ahead.
I don't know if Ben's on the same level as someone who's a computer. Jesus, yeah, the Ben's for me. It's a solid album.
Wait, is this number 5?
Yeah.
I'm in shape too.
Okay, fair
Fucking
enough.
forgot about him in shit.
Okay, yeah. So, Michael, go first.
Okay. I'm trying to hold back the tears. All right. Essentially, Hail to the Thief. I actually quite enjoy like the theme of the whole album and how it tackles like the politics of like what happened in the post 9/11 world and all that sort of stuff like that. For the most part, I quite enjoy the production, but there are like a few songs that don't really feel good in terms of production wise. But you can seem a bit messy and a bit inconsistent in terms of the flow of the album, and there might be a small bit of filler, but ultimately I actually really enjoy it. So yeah, Hail to the Thief 5. It's time to hear your take, Louis.
Louis.
Now, you begin. Okay, I don't hate OK Computer. I give this a 90 out of 100, right? It's a close pick, these top 5 albums. They're all equally fantastic, but I don't know. OK Computer is a standout album, right? After the bends, this just sounds so much better. And it cemented the Radiohead sound completely. Opening track, Airbag, is probably one of the best openers on any Radiohead album, bar like maybe Kid A, I think. It's just an excellent track. Paranoid Android is like the Bohemian Rhapsody of Radiohead. 3 segments in the song. It's good. Exit music for film, love it. There's good tracks on it, but there's a lot of filler, in my opinion, that I just don't resonate with, really. Electioneering, I don't like it. I think it's really kind of pop. It's like a pop ballad in a way. I have to say, I just don't like the sound of it. Climb Up the Walls is good. The Tourist, unmemorable. 5 minutes of why am I listening to this? I could be listening to, I don't know, the next album in the list. I don't want to listen. Fitter Happier, I mean, I can understand it from an artistic point of view. Kills the flow of the whole album, like immediately, stops in its tracks. And
Okay. Oh
the,
God.
the funniest song title for me is Letdown, because it's such a fucking letdown on the whole album. But I just don't enjoy it. I have my it has its standouts, yes, but like there's a lot that I just don't want to listen to and barely ever listen to because I just don't enjoy it. Whereas like the same with the other albums, like I could listen to all the other ones, but this one in particular, it's just a lot that I don't listen to. Anyways, there's my hot juicy pick. What do you, David?
This is gonna.
Yeah, the bends. I think it's just a really. I get that it doesn't really mesh in with the better Radiohead sound that kind of comes after it, but it's still a really solid album, and I actually listen to it a lot. There's just a lot of nice, like the vocals really like solidified in this one as well. I really enjoyed that. And did I drop out? No. Oh.
No, you're fine.
Okay.
We're just really interested.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think the bass I really enjoy the bass on it as well. Like in tracks like Bones and Just and stuff, and then yeah, just a lot of stuff. Oh, and Spirit Street Fade Out. Obviously, that's a beautiful song. Like, I just love it.
I think right. Mine's I'm in Shape Pool, and I think I'm at the point in my rankings where it's really hard to complain about these albums. I think it's a really great album. Like I can't think of many weak tracks or low points on it, and I think it has like maybe it's going for something kind of similar to King of Limbs, but more
Fleshed out,
grand and more beautiful and emotional. And I think it nails that, whereas King of Limbs kind of loses itself in its own concept. I think this nails what it's going for, and it doesn't really sound like any other Radiohead album to me. It sounds fresh, even though it's their 9th album. They still came out with something fresh, and I think it's a great album. I think the ranking just comes down to I think it's less memorable than some of the other albums after it. It certainly has moments that are hard to forget, but I think the rest of the albums above it are just a bit more memorable and a bit more of a statement in the grand scheme of things. So yeah, that's my
fair.
pick.
Okay.
All right, favorite songs from each of our picks. My favorites from Hail to the Thief are 2 + 2 = 5, There, and Scatterbrain. And my least favorite song is We Suck Young Blood.
OK Computer. My favorite songs: Airbag, Car Police, and Paranoid Android. Worst song: Electioneering.
Right.
You're so
that's
wrong.
quick.
Nah, it's alright.
Best songs off the band. There's a lot of them. Like Fake Plastic Trees, Spirit Street.
Street.
Outfade.
Head Radio.
Fade in.
I love Ben's there. And High and Dry as well. And I don't think there's any bad tracks, but I guess Nice Dream is probably one of the most favorite.
Bones.
That's like one of my favorites on the whole album.
My favorite tracks off Moonshaped Pool, Daydreaming, of course. Burn the Witch is great. Full Stop is great, and extra shout out to True Love Waits, because I was so happy when I saw that on the track list when they announced it. It's been decades, and there's finally a studio release of it, and it's just as good as I anticipated. So yeah, least favorite track. There's not really any weak tracks. Maybe Tinker Tailor. I don't know. There's no weak
Say the
tracks.
full name.
That's what I'd say.
I'm not gonna say the full name. I don't remember the full
We don't know which song you're
Tinker
talking
Tailor.
I don't have the track list here. I don't remember the full name. What is the full name?
I think it's Tinker Tailor, Soldier, Spy, Poor Man, Rich Man.
Yeah, that one. It's still a good song.
That one. Yeah.
Right, number 4, boys.
Okay, my number 4 pick is a Moonshaped Pool.
Hail to the Thief.
Moonshaped Pool.
The Bends.
What? What the fuck? You putting the
Ooh.
bends up so high? Bar me is like put it like
So
the
this is the
number
one who's gonna
4
fucking.
spot.
Who's
Shut
gonna
up.
put OK Computer
Shut
as
up.
fifth?
Shut
You
up.
lost your privileges to complain about any of our picks.
Okay, I picked a moon-shaped pool at number 4 because I don't know. It's kind of hard to say anything bad about this album because overall, I think I love the like dark and eerie atmosphere. Like, and plus, pretty much Tom's lyrics are more like heartfelt, especially because of was he going through like a separation at the time or something like that?
With his wife, yes, of 23.
Yeah. So that kind of adds to it, and plus it feels like it's more fleshed out than what the King of Limbs should have been. It feels more complete and consistent. And plus, I really love the instrumentation on this album. Louis?
Am I on?
Take.
Oh shit! Yeah. Okay. Hail to the Thief. I fucking love this album. It's just difficult to rank it amongst the next few. That's why it's at number 4. I put it up higher, but I don't know. There's a few tracks that do suck a little bit. Overall, I absolutely love the political motifs behind this album. And I do find it funny. In interviews, Tom said it's difficult to keep politics out of music, and we tried doing that for this album. Then after 2 tracks, they completely stopped and completely political, which it's just kind of great. It's full of. I mean, it's raw. It's packed full of emotion. You know, there hasn't really been a Radiohead song like "I Will." I mean, it's about women and children going into bunkers and being bombed. It's not fun. It's
Isn't
not
that
a nice
Idiotech?
album. No, that's not Idiotech. Well, it is Idiotech. It's also Idiotech, but I Will is equally about that. Yeah, they kind of reuse themes, don't they? Jesus. But yeah, it's not a happy album. It's a really kind of depressed, glum kind of, it's really against the system, I guess you could say. I really enjoy. It is, as you said, Mel, excellent opening track. 2 + 2 is 5 is iconic. I think. Sit Down, Stand Up. Electronically, I don't know. I really love the song. I think it's a great build up beforehand, and then it just goes like that, and it's just great. Sail to the Moon, fantastic bit of piano. I think a lot for this album, like a lot of the piano work and instrumentation is just fantastic. Sail to the Moon. I really love We Suck Young Blood. It's incredibly depressing, right? And I think it contrasts a lot of the other songs of the album as being kind of fast paced or sounding happy, really sad. And just before it, you have Go to Sleep, Backdrifts. They're really electronic and it's a good beat on them, and they keep going. And then there's We Suck Young Blood, and it's sad and it's slow and it's depressing and it's just. I could not about this album all day, but I'm not gonna. It's definitely one of my favorites. And I would put it up higher if I could.
Right, good take.
All right, David?
Yeah. I keep fucking saying yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's probably not their last album, but I mean, Chiphill would be like, it's like a nice kind of closing.
Don't say that.
It would be a good one though. It is. I think it just kind of. It's a nice kind of slow. Like, what's the fucking word?
Encore.
There's a word right there.
There is, yeah.
I actually didn't know that what you were saying about his wife and all that kind of adds to it. I don't actually know anything about. No, I don't know shit about like behind the bands. I just listen to music. But
Okay, fair enough.
But yeah, I just really like that.
It's hard to find criticism at this point.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
Well, the bends. I completely forgot what I had to talk about the bends. I wasn't preparing anything. It's just, I think it's miles above Pablo Honey in terms of quality, in terms of concept. I think they were in a different place for sure, but still trying to make somewhat similar music. But I don't know what happened, but like in those 2-3 years, but it's just miles above. I don't think there's many weak tracks. There's nothing really. I think it's a perfect all-track album. It's not as experimental or as unique as the rest of their discography. That's why it doesn't quite rank with them. But in terms of just a alt rock album, I think it's one of the best. I don't think there's many who has many weaknesses.
Disagree. Jesus. Doesn't rank up with the best of them. You put it at number 4, man. What the
Yeah,
do
you
mean?
put OK Computer at number 5.
Oh, right,
What are you on about?
Don't shout at me.
Oh, okay. All right, moving on.
Right.
All right, favorite songs from each of the albums. For me, my favorites from A Moonshaped Pool were Daydreaming, Identikit, and Burn the Witch. And my least favorite track was Tinker Tailor.
Off of Hail to the Thief, sit up, down, stand up, hail to the moon, baby. Sail to the moon and Backdrifts. Worst song, probably Punch Up at a Wedding or Scatterbrain.
Best song off Moonshaped Pool, probably Burn the Witch, True Love Waits, and Full Stop. And Tinker Tailor as well as the Tinker Tailor, Sailor Soldier, Rich Man, Poor Man, Beggar Man, Thief is the worst song.
Nerd.
Woo!
Nerd.
Oh, okay, Boomer.
Favorite songs, easily, Fake Plastic Trees, one of my favorite Radiohead songs. I love The Bends. I love Planet Telex. I love Street Spirit. I like Black Star as well. Least favorite song, probably High and Dry. It kind of just sounds like a Pablo Honey song to me.
You're not wrong, actually. Shit.
High and Dry. I'll leave it at that.
Right, so I guess we should move on to
top 3, boys.
Jesus,
We're at the top 3.
Now
this is gonna
wait.
no.
I think we have the same 3 albums in our top 3.
Do you think?
Yeah. So
Actually,
it's just gonna be a different order.
I wonder.
Yeah.
Oh, except for Louis, the fucking controversial.
No, but this is gonna be. No, at this point, it's going to be the hardest because it's going to be hard to say anything bad about these records and explain why we put them above each of them. Okay, so let's just get this over with. For me, number 3, Kid A.
For me, number 3, Moonshaped Pool.
David?
I came back right in time there. Kid A is my 3rd favorite.
And for me, it's In Rainbows.
Okay, so for me, Kid A is my 3rd favorite. Mostly because, I don't know, it's hard to find anything to criticize about this album. This album is amazing front to back. Like, it was an amazing left turn for the band, especially since they're burnt out from the critical praise they were getting from OK Computer. But this one is just different, incorporating more of the electronics to the whole album as a whole. What am I saying there? But I love pretty much most of the tracks on here. It's great, consistent, and I love how it's kind of like a whole album is basically flowing like a life of someone, something like that, and it just feels grand. So yeah, Kid A.
Right, well, A Moonshaped Pool. I think what stands out to me about this album, you could definitely hear, I don't know if you guys know this, but Tom York and Johnny Greenwood, they do a lot of film soundtracks.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, Tom York did the Suspiria remake from 2017, and Johnny's known for doing There Will Be Blood and a lot of other. There's another one, I think, I can't remember. Joaquin Phoenix was in it. It's not the Joker. I'll say that. You were never really here. You can kind of hear there's a lot more. How would you say? There's a lot of theatrics with this album. There's a lot of different instruments they haven't really used before. There's a lot of cello in this one. I noticed a lot more just piano ballads as well, such as Daydreaming, which I think is an amazing song, coupled with an amazing music video. If you've ever seen it, which I'm guessing we all have, yeah. It's kind of like him walking through the doors of life and then feeling alone, even though he's walking and causing home invasions, all across a town. Tracks like Burn the Witch, I mean, the cellos on that are ridiculously good and well, put together. The instrumentation on the whole track is fantastic. Lyrically, it's very beautiful, very sonic. Tracks like Full Stop have an energy about them. It's just, I don't know. I guess you could say it's unbearable. You just got to move around when you hear it. It's just constant, really good beat. Tracks like The Numbers and Present Tense, very quiet and kind of nice guitar little ballads. Not too difficult to play. Very sonically pleasing. True Love Waits, like you said, Nahal, after listening to it live loads and then into the studio version, it's great. It's great to have it just proper in the studio. And overall, I think it's a very sad album, I guess. But at the same time, there's a few tracks that just kind of uplifting, but they shouldn't really be uplifting. Like Desert Island Disc and, Full Stop. Full Stop is energetic and all, but it sound kind of depressing and down, I guess. But overall, I love this album. I think it definitely deserves to be in the top 3.
All right, David.
Mine was Kid A. And once again, I'm just gonna compliment it, even though it's not my first. It's the I don't know. I guess it's when they like really started to go in hard on all the electronic music, and it works really well. Like on Idiotech, I think like there's a kind of like a hard beat behind it, but also like Tom's really drony vocals and like contrast really nicely. I really like that. And tracks like How to Disappear Completely, just like the vocal, not the vocals, the lyrics and that really. I don't know. It's probably one of like I don't often think too hard about Radiohead lyrics, I guess, even though I should. But on that one definitely like every time I listen to it.
Not a true Radiohead fan.
I know. I hear myself. But yeah, no, it's just a really nice eerie song. And then I go back and forth on whether or not I like National Anthem. Sometimes it can fucking hurt my head, but it is just a cool song at the end of the day. Yeah, no, just really fucking good album.
Yeah.
Another case where I don't really have anything to complain about when it comes to End Rainbows. I feel like it's a natural progression for Radiohead after Hail to the Thief. It's probably even more so than OK and Kid A. Very grand, like bigger than life. It seems, if I can't really put it to words, it just seems like a huge album. That makes sense. There's a lot going on. It sounds powerful. It sounds great. There's no weak tracks. I don't think there's a single weak track. It experiments, but it's not like Amnesiac where it just gets a bit confusing and too experimental. It does everything perfect, I think. I think it's an amazing record, and it just shows how great Radiohead is that it's third. It's an amazing album.
So, what's the best tracks from each album, I guess? Michael?
Yeah.
All right, my favorite tracks from Kid A were the National Anthem, Everything in Its Right Place, and Idiotech. And my
sorry.
and my least favorite track. I mean, I love all the tracks on the album. It's so hard to pick. Probably Three Fingers.
I'd say on the Moonshaped Pool, best songs: Burn the Witch, Daydreaming, and Present Tense. Worst song, Tinker Tailor. I don't care.
Didn't we all have Tinker Tailor as the worst song on Moonshaped Pool?
Because it's just
we did.
the least appealing.
Probably because of the title.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, because of the title. Don't like it.
Hi, David.
Best tracks off Kid A. Idiotech, Optimistic, and How to Disappear Completely, I think. And I should have planned this. Morning Bell for my worst track, I think. The kids deserve to be whole.
I agree. Yeah, don't cut the kids in half. No. Stop.
My favorite tracks off in Rainbows are House of Cards, Reckoner, Videotape, 15-Step Body Snatchers, Fishes, the whole album. Least favorite, fuck. I really can't. I don't know. I don't have a least favorite.
You have to.
I really don't.
Just pick a track at random.
That's not how this works.
I've just been guessing
Yeah,
the
sure.
whole time. I didn't
Picks
know
weird fishes, yeah.
that one looks
I
weird.
like weird fishes.
It's the worst.
Weird Fishes is great.
I'm joking, you idiots. I just said, just pick one random.
Shit's a fucking bop.
I don't know. I don't have a least favorite. I don't have any specific song up because I can't.
Fair enough.
Quality through and through. Okay, number
Alright.
2.
Top
Number
2,
two,
fellas.
boys.
Here we go.
Shit
My-
me.
Number 2 for me is In Rainbows.
Number 2 for me, Pablo Honey. No. It's Pop is dead. No. It's G'day.
All
Yeah,
right.
mine's In Rainbows.
And mine is OK Computer.
Bing bong, opinion's wrong.
All right, Michael.
All right. In Rainbows. I own this album on vinyl, and I was listening to it
Ooh.
earlier today. It's an incredible album front to back. Like, I love how incredibly detailed like a lot of the instrumentation is, and I really love Tom York's vocals throughout the whole album. And to me, some of the tracks on it are definitely some of Radiohead's most fun and explosive in terms of instrumentation, and it flows really well. It and as the title, it's colorful. Like, it's a very colorful album to me, and yeah, it's one of my favorites. So yeah, In Rainbows.
Kid is a masterpiece before I say anything. There's a lot. It's kind of difficult to criticize in any way because it's just so iconic. I mean, I don't think any band really ever that I can think of has had such a like change in sound and tempo and like everything than Radiohead with OK Computer and Kid A. Like, it's completely different. There's a lot going on. It's hilariously electronic. Some people, I don't know, I've heard some people say that it's like a bit too experimental with the electronics, but I think those people are stupid. Drifting its right place is incredible. And I can imagine being a Radiohead fan at the time. You've just listened to OK Computer, right? Then 3 years down the line, you pick up Kid A. You expect another kind of OK Computer style album, and then you first track is Everything in Its Right Place. Your mind must have been absolutely fucking blown.
At time, it got like critical backlash for that too, but
I know, which is so funny.
Nobody was ready.
Nobody was
Exactly.
ready for this.
The album itself was ahead of its time.
Yeah. Tracks like National Anthem, iconic. Some of the best tracks that Radiohead have ever done are on Kid A. How to Disappear Completely is an intensely sad ballad that will make even the manliest of men cry about everything. I think it's kind of cool as well. He got the inspiration from for that song because he, at the time, made friends with the main singer of R.E.M., Michael Stipe, which I will always think is fucking epic and cool that they're like friends.
Yeah.
In Limbo is another song stands out to me as being really good. Same with Optimistic. It's just a very kind of punchy song, I guess. Then there's Idiotech. I love the electronic beat on that. It's just got an excellent energy about it. And the instrumentation on it is fantastic. I actually quite enjoy Morning Bell. It's good.
Okay.
Cut the Kids in Half. Yes. Motion picture soundtrack. Kind of, I don't know. I've grown onto it a little bit more, but I don't think it's the best track, to be honest. It's kind of difficult to say anything else. It's just fantastic. The whole album is great. I have nothing else to say. On to the next person, yeah.
David.
Is that me? Oh, it is. It was
Yep.
kind of just a toss-up for me between OK Computer and In Rainbows. Like, they're both near perfect albums. I don't know, I guess the blend of the like electronic beats, but the fucking like just sick guitar riffs in these are so cool. Especially on Body Snatchers. I just love that song. There's not much you can say. Like, I love that riff. I love all of these. Like 15 Step, just all the electronics on it, all the guitar, all the vocals. It's just like a solid album through and through. I don't really know what to say about it. I know Tom fucking jerks himself off about the syncopation of videotape, but I don't really get that. So that's the only bad thing I'm going to say about it.
Okay, computer. Dude, I can't believe you put it in fifth. I really can't. I think this album is
I am
perfect.
clenching my
It is
fist right now.
one of the best albums ever made, and I can see why it has the highest score on like almost every critic website in existence. I can see why it gets praised so much. There was nothing really like it back in '97, and there's still. It's hard to find anything like it. It's every song I think is amazing, incredible.
The Foo
It-
Fighters were around then, bro.
Dude,
They're
of
great.
It just there's no. It doesn't slow down for me at any point. There's no weak parts. Everything flows perfectly. Like it's one of the best albums ever made, and
And that's a
it's
fucking fact.
it's a staple in alternative rock and art rock history.
Staple in history.
It's a staple in history, human history. I love OK
All
Computer.
right.
No.
Okay.
Wank it off
Favorites.
more. Go on.
How are you going to top that
Alright.
with your favorite album?
All right. Moving on. Our favorite tracks from each of our picks. In Rainbows, I love every single track on In Rainbows, but my favorites were 15 Steps, Weird Fishes, and Jigsaw Falling into Place. And least favorite. Oh shit! This is hard. Fucking House of Cards.
True. For Kid A, I'd say favorites probably National Anthem, Everything in its Right Place in the deck, and worst, I'd have to say probably Three Fingers. Doesn't really stand out very much. It's not instrumentals aren't really their thing. You need Tom doing something, and it just kind of makes the song whole.
I mean, it's a cool track, but yeah, Tom not being there kind of brought it down a small bit.
David.
Fuck. Body Snatcher is by far my favorite song off the In Rainbows. 15 Step as well is great, and Reckoner, I suppose. And then worst track. Well, there is no worst track. There's just the least greatest track.
We'll just say that.
I'll say House of Cards, I guess. But yeah, don't be hurt, Tom.
I doubt Tom is.
You never
I
know.
doubt-
He might just name search himself.
I mean, are we putting
Tom
Tom
York.
York in the title?
Laugh. Tom York laughs funny.
In the meta tags.
Yeah, we'll put him in the tags.
How many
We'll-
favorites can I pick?
One.
Three max. Three
max.
max.
Fuck. All right. Letdown. Paranoid Android. Airbag. Oh, least
Hey.
favorite. Oh shit. They're happier. Does that count?
That doesn't count. That's a cop out. That's a cop out.
It's our house. It's our
Cop
house.
out.
You can't cop on it.
Favorite.
Yeah, you can.
Fuck. I love this song, but maybe. Oh fuck. Maybe Lucky. I
What?
still love it. I think
What?
it's amazing. There's no weak tracks.
What? Electioneering is shit.
It's an incredible.
Electioneering is
What do you mean? Electioneering is a great song.
shit. I hate it. Yeah, you got
Okay,
opinions.
okay,
Come on.
puts OK Computer at number 5.
Yeah, my opinion's right, and you can't handle it. Lol.
Oh, okay, Mr. Loves Hail to the Thief.
I love Hail to the Thief, yes. Anyways.
Yes.
Number
Alright.
one-
Number 1 picks, fellas. We've made it. Yeah. OK Computer.
Finally. Fuck.
OK Computer. Straight up.
Hey, computer.
Louis.
In Rainbows.
Ooh.
Good, great pick.
Okay, computer.
Papa's dead.
Alright,
Kidding.
And,
Kid A, fair enough.
It's Kitty.
That's fair enough.
No.
Alright. I pick OK Computer because to me, like, this album is incredible front to back. To me, there's not a bad moment on the track list at all. It's instrumentally, it's the band's most consistent and grand, you could say. And this was the point definitely where they mastered their sound. And I quite enjoy. I think this has Tom York's best vocals to date as well, and like the whole theme of like at the time, like computers were taking the world by storm, and this is kind of a reflection of like the world around them when computers were coming in and the internet and all that sort of stuff, and it's kind of interesting to see. And this is and it's
Kind of an
definitely
interesting take,
yeah, it
where
is.
today
Interesting,
is
yes.
the world being finally taken over by computers and the band as well.
Yeah.
That's why they changed
And-
their sound.
And that's reflective of Fitter Happier. Like
We did it, guys.
like
So-
it's reflective. It's reflective of Fitter Happier. Like I don't know.
that
It's
we are
it's
a
just
pig. That we are a pig in a cage on anti.
no, but fucking incredible moments on this album all the way throughout. I can't stress this enough. Fucking OK Computer is amazing. I love OK Computer.
Okay, In Rainbows is the penultimate Radiohead album. It is a masterpiece through and through. I love every track on this album. I don't like even with Kid A, my second choice. There's still one song that I don't enjoy. This album is just perfection through and through. I like every single track here. Not one of them feels weak or sounds bad or kills the tempo or the beat or the momentum of the album. It just kind of all melds together into one glorious, glorious album. The opening track, 15 Step, it's loud, it's noisy, and it's electronic and fast. It's got a great beat to it, a great time signature. Really makes you get pumped up for the rest of the album. Body Snatchers, I 1000% agree with you, David. It is fucking great.
It's so nice.
The
It's amazing
hardest sound Radiohead have put out since, like, probably Pablo Honey, in terms of just being rock and just raw.
It's fun,
just
like
unfiltered. Yeah. And then afterwards, it's fucking Nude. Nude is so good and just different to Body Snatchers. It just, you're all dreamy and shit. It's great. Weird Fishes is incredible. I don't even want to talk about it all. Well, literally, I could go on for hours about that one track. All I need is beautiful. It's slow. It's, I guess you could say sad. I mean, that's sad, really. Fast Start. Fantastic. Reckoner. Some of the best vocals Tom York has ever put out, I think. House of Cards. Equally, it's nice, it's chill. It's just, it's not even really a way to describe it. It's just, I guess, Jigsaw Falling into Place is the best track on the album, in my opinion. I like the escalation as it goes along. Starts with just a basic acoustic, where the drumming comes in, and then down the line, just all those fucking, the orchestra behind them just starts going mental. And I just love it. And then it just ends like that. And then you're into Videotape, the most depressing song on the whole album. And it's slow and devastating, and finishes off with a brisk the piano. Now, I have to say, I don't like. Sorry, I just had a stroke. I'm done. That's me.
Okay, David next.
Yeah, OK Computer. Like I said, it was really tied with In Rainbows, so it's kind of hard to pick. But I suppose this has more like the tracks within this kind of stand out more to me than certain ones on than In Rainbows. Like Airbag is a really nice opening track, but then so is 15 Step. But never mind. Paranoid Android by far is the best song on the track. It's just like so winding, and it changes so much throughout it. It's there, Jesus of Suburbia.
Nice.
Same with like I use it for a film that's kind of like, I don't know, taught me to like wait in music and for things to build. And so Electioneering has a great fucking guitar riff, you bastard.
Whoa.
It's a good song. I like
It's
it.
shit. I don't like it. Bad.
How dare you?
I can kind of agree that Fit or Happier kind of kills the vibe as you're going through it, but at the same time, I think it adds to the whole overall experience.
It's
When looking
art
back on
house.
It is.
It is art.
I
Blade
feel like it splits
Runner's
the album. I
sounds.
feel like it splits the album in
Mihal,
half.
Kid
Like
A.
the second half has a different sound than the first. Kid A is probably like my second favorite album of all time. I don't think I've ever listened to an album more than I have Kid A.
What about your
And
first favorite?
like it's so
This is off topic. Shut the fuck
it's off topic. And I mentioned it last week. If you wanna see my
Listen.
up.
if
Plug.
you wanna hear what my
Immediate.
first favorite album is, listen to all of last week's podcast. It's in there somewhere. And then like and subscribe.
Also, you didn't link my YouTube channel last week.
Good.
Oh, I'll do that this week for both.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
link our Twitter
hours
was going to be
worth of-
made with the next minutes or something.
Don't link
it's
my Twitter.
I'll link your Twitter
such
right
an-
now.
Fuck off.
Okay, shut up.
Shut up, I'm talking. It's probably one of the most detailed albums I've ever heard. Like I've listened to it about 100 times. Sometimes when I'm just laying down and listening to it like with headphones, I'll still hear like some faint synth line or like melody in the background or some weird electronic sound that I've never even noticed before. It's just there's so much to this and it's all packed in and it just works perfectly. The opening track, what a fucking you have to have some balls to put that as the opening track to the follow up to your big breakout album. To put everything in the right place as the follow up. That Tommy York has some balls. It's such a dark album. It just feels like the soundtrack to knowing you're gonna die and just having a fucking crisis.
Like Kid A is like an artificial being.
Yeah, it feels like a completely hopeless album.
Happy Days with Tom York.
It's the opposite of that.
Brighten up the mood of a Sunday dinner with your family playing
Listening to
such
this.
classics as Everything Is Right, How to Disappear Completely.
Yeah, it's
Imagine
like a
playing those at like a
soundtrack to
Christmas fucking dinner.
It's Christmas dinner. You're all gathered around to eat some food, and you start playing like fucking
Idiotech.
Idiot.
And your man starts dancing.
Yeah, nightmare.
No, it just sounds like the soundtrack to like an existential crisis. It's
Yeah.
I think it's just an experience that you can't get anywhere else other than Kid A. It's an amazing, perfect, incredible piece of music.
All right. Now, favorite songs and worst songs from the pick. Right. So, my favorite songs from OK Computer are Exit Music for a Film, Paranoid Android, and Airbag. And my least favorite, it's tough to pick because I love all the songs on here, but The Tourist, probably.
Yes.
Yeah,
For
fuck you,
In Rainbows.
electioneering.
Fuck yeah, electioneering shit. Sorry. Best songs
How dare
from In Rainbows. Everything. Literally everything. Worst, nothing. It's all good. I can't even pick one. I'm not picking one. I refuse. They're all good.
You have to
I
pick
just
three good best songs, though. Pick three best songs. at
Oh
least.
my god, the best songs. Jesus Christ. Body Snatchers, Weird Fishes, Jigsaw Falling into Place.
Perfect. David?
Best tracks of OK Computer. Paranoid Android's definitely the standout one for me, as well as Karma Police, I think. And I'm just going to say Electioneering for fuck you.
Fuck you. Fuck you.
All right, Michal, your favorites of Kid A?
Favorite 3?
Only?
Motion picture soundtrack, How to Disappear Completely, and Idiotech.
Mm,
I'm gonna have to say least favorite.
you have to.
Yeah.
Oh god, I still love it. I think it's an amazing song, but I just feel like maybe Optimistic would have been a better fit on like Hail to the Thief or something.
Fuck you.
I think I still think it's an important part of the album. It has that. It's like that the one like rock song on there. It has its place. But I guess
Yes.
I guess it's might be the least interesting, which is saying not saying much because It's still a very interesting track. It's just this album, it's perfect. I don't really have a song I don't like. I think even Three Fingers is an important part of the album.
Okay.
We
So
did it.
yeah, I guess
Amazing.
that's it, guys.
Boys.
We've had some highs and we've had some very lows.
We've had
We've
some
had
great
some
takes.
computers at number 5s.
Some good takes, I think.
So thanks very much for listening. What did you think of our opinions?
Did you hate him?
Yeah.
What do you think of shit? Our
Did you-
opinions.
What did you think of our opinions? Did you love them? Did you hate them? How would you rate them? You're the best. You're the best. Please leave a like. Please consider subscribing. And yeah.
Fuck off.
I know you have a disdain for the melon, but I couldn't help myself.
You're fueling people's hatred of us.
Okay. Forget what I said. Okay, so
edit that in.
We'll be back next
Okay.
week with something. We still don't know what we'll do next week. I guess it'll be a surprise.
if there's no notable releases
So
that
it
come
won't
out
really be
next
new
week,
Releases. January's.
Ma-
well,
well,
He already came out.
maybe how about if there's no notable release? How about Pink Floyd worst to best?
Ooh,
oh,
that's
Jesus,
Ah.
including all
give
the
us like 2 weeks for that, man.
Jesus, yeah.
yeah,
Fuck.
we need a bit
Fine. How about the week after?
prepare.
Fucking
Okay.
Kanye next week or some
Let's
shit.
plan this
Perhaps.
some other time. Let's
Yeah,
just
Kanye-
start.
Kanye
Alright,
worst to best
listeners.
We'll do Kanye next week.
All right, Kanye worst to best next week. Fuck yeah.
Shags, worst to best next week. Yes.
Corey Feldman worst to best.
Fuck yeah. Absolutely. Slipknot is my life. Okay.
Um,
So I guess that's it.
farewell. Bye bye.
Farewell.